From Adams Morgan to Anacostia Park, we all want safer neighborhoods. But what does real safety mean? Real safety means preventing crime before it happens. By having police work with communities to disrupt cycles of violence, by supporting families with stable housing, and providing more mental health and drug treatment. We know that adding more police and locking up more people doesn't make us safer. Real safety means investing in the things that help prevent crime. Learn more at Real Safety DC.
The amazing Kate Casey.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey. And today's episode is about a true crime doc series called Don't Date Brandon on Paramount Plus. There's a saying that we've all heard, love makes you do crazy things. But what happens when love itself is the lie? Amber thought she'd found something real. It started the way so many modern romances do. It's a message, a photo, a charming man who seemed to see her, and I mean really see her. And his name was Brandon. He was attentive, funny, kind. He told her everything that she wanted to hear. And he painted a picture of the perfect life, one that seemed so close she could almost touch it. But behind that picture was something darker. At first it was the little things, the inconsistencies, the missed calls, the vague stories that didn't quite add up, the feeling that something was off. And then came the excuses, the gaslighting, the manipulation. It's the kind of slow psychological erosion that makes you question your own instincts. So when Amber started to dig, she found herself caught in a web of deception, so intricate it could have only been built over years. And she discovered that she wasn't the first woman to fall for Brandon's story, not by a long shot. There was another woman. Athena had lived her own version of Brandon's lie. The same charm, the same stories, the same emotional con. And when Amber reached out to her, it was like two survivors finding each other after the storm. Together, they began to piece together the truth, that Brandon wasn't just a bad boyfriend. He was a master manipulator, a man with a trail of deceit and a criminal past. But here's what makes this story different. Amber and Athena didn't just survive Brandon, they fought back. They took the pain he caused them and turned it into power. They found solidarity, not in silence, but in speaking out, first to each other and then to the world. And out of the darkness came light, a podcast, a space where they could warn others, tell their stories, and help women recognize the signs that they once missed. Their honesty, their vulnerability, and their courage became a lifeline for others caught in similar webs of manipulation. And then, only to find out there was another woman, still out there, dating Brandon, and how that story unraveled as well. The truth is, Brandon isn't just one man. He's a type, the kind of person who hides behind charm, who uses love as a weapon, and who counts on silence to keep his victims isolated. But not this time, because again, this is the story of two women who came together and broke the silence. And now their story, told in the new Paramount Plus doc series, Don't Date Brandon, is more than just a true crime tale. This is a story of reclaiming identity, finding strength through sisterhood, and transforming trauma into advocacy. I am thrilled that Amber and Athena are my guests today, and wait until you hear this story. Here's my interview. Hi, it's nice to meet both of you. The weird thing is, I posted that I was going to do this interview, and one of my listeners said that they actually grew up with Brandon.
Yeah, the whole town's on fire right now.
Are they? Yeah.
I'm getting text messages, and one of his off and on friends, or on friend, I don't know, from childhood messaged me, and he said that his phone is blowing up. The whole town's talking about it in Aberdeen, and that they already have scheduled huge watch parties where all of them are getting together to watch this. But none of them are surprised whatsoever.
Wow, I was going to ask that, yeah.
Yeah, of his behavior, and they were all like not shocked, which is kind of sad, but not surprising.
Well, the people that listen to this show are seasoned viewers of true crime docs. They love a scammer story, and there's nothing that fires them up more than women who find their power and retaliate on anybody that has gotten in their way. So this is certainly up their alley. I think it's important to kind of begin to tell the story so we can figure out how he amassed so much influence over time. So Athena, maybe if you could start with your story, what's the timeline? The year that you meet him, how he presents himself. And I think it's important for them to know too, the kind of job he says he has. And if you ever got an opportunity to meet anyone in his life, his friends, his family, in other words, what is the narrative that he begins to tell you from the beginning?
Yeah, so it was a con straight from jump. So he indeed was an IT recruiter. And let's see, the year was 2007. We met on Match.com. And his profile was actually accurate to the description. I mean, the descriptions of what he said, where he came from, things like that, his job, height, whatever, images, those things were accurate. Meeting in person, super caring, very kind. We hit it off right away. But I owned my own home and I had a successful job. And I think that made him jump into the first lie that I catch him in, which is he tells me that he is building this beautiful home in Fremont, which is a suburb of downtown Seattle. And, his lease is up at his apartment. He has to move in with me for a few weeks. And then within a few weeks, he's not talking about any of the finish work or visiting the build site. And then I catch him in that lie. Like the whole thing was a lie. From there, it's just discovering more things. But I will say he has a brilliant way of flipping things on you. So it was, when I catch him, it's tears. But you are such an amazing, accomplished woman. And I just felt like I needed to be more and have more for you to really want to be with me. And I do have this savings account. I do want to buy this beautiful home and I want you to live with me in this home. And it's just that I wanted to be enough for you. And so that's why I lied. So he's very, very charming and manipulative to where I'm like, you don't have to feel like that about me. I'm a grounded, nice person. I've had nothing. I've lived off of pennies and I've worked hard for what I have. Like, you never have to be anybody but yourself. And here I am trying to make him feel better, right? He's very good at that. So that was the theme through the relationship. And through every twist and turn, there were cons, there were lies, there were scheming, scamming. He was able to find his way back into my life. For a while, I would think, wow, he must really love me. I've never had anybody this determined coming to my house, leaving me bouquets of flowers for almost, I think it was like 11, 13 days in a row. Beautiful poems handwritten to myself.
So he's love bombing you.
To my daughter, yes. And that phrase didn't even exist in 2007. So I think it was a mixture of being naive, never experiencing any person like this, or knowing that a person could do those things or manipulate you or lack empathy, sympathy. I just never been around a person like that. Nobody educates you to see those red flags in your teens and 20s at that time, at least. So, I would say our relationship finally ended when I caught him for like the second time scheming with his work, pretending to go in, lying, saying I have cancer because he was actually trying to steal money from his job and other accounts they had. And I was just like, I'm done. I'm out. Finding the burner phone on top of the refrigerator 5 weeks after we were married, had this huge, beautiful ceremony. He was carrying on a relationship with a woman in Canada, planning a trip to Mexico with her. That was probably the last 6 to 8 months before I filed. It was a lot.
Now, had you met his family at all? And are they complicit in the lie?
We got married towards the end of our 5 to 6 year relationship. So right away, within month 1 or 2, maybe month 2, he was, I want you to come to Aberdeen, meet my friends, my family. We would frequent there. I was close with his mom, his dad, his stepmom, his entire family, stepsister. And we would go up there. We would stay the night. We had holidays there. They accepted my daughter from a previous relationship. And Yeah, we were all very close.
And so was there ever a moment where they would pull you aside or something happened on a holiday where they made you feel like you need to watch yourself? Or there was anything in the company of parents or friends that you thought, this doesn't sync up to what he's said?
No, not at all, because they believed all of his false narrative. He actually had them believing anything and everything that he was doing. They fully believed it, even when at the very, very end, when I reached out and I said, I love you all very much. This is happening. I'm devastated. I'm sorry. But I just want you to know, I got no response back. I might have spoken to his mom, who was sad that this was happening. She was sad. But he had already fed them both information that I was crazy and evil and that I was cheating on him. So he flipped everything to make me the bad guy.
I love how this guy's like, every girl I've ever gone out with is crazy. Like, they're all nuts. It's not me. Okay, so then tell me now how you meet him and what's the narrative that he tells you. And in conjunction with, you hear Athena's story. So does anything sync up, or is it a completely different story?
Well, for me, Tinder had just come out. So dating apps. I'd never been on a dating app before. Didn't even know what it was. So I was actually from Oregon. So I was visiting a friend in Seattle, and I had downloaded this Tinder app, which I was told was a networking app at the time.
Oh boy.
And we were talking, and I was like, have you met anyone in town? She's like, no, there's this thing called the Seattle Ice or whatever it is where it's hard to meet people. And I said, oh, there's this networking thing called Tinder. I don't really know anything about it. I haven't used it. And so I opened it up and was scrolling, and she goes, well, it looks like a dating app. I'm like, I know, it totally does. But what I didn't realize I was doing is I was swiping yes to everybody.
Got it. Yeah.
I closed my phone, went home. So when I get home, Brandon's in my messages, and he is relentless, and he is texting me all day. And then I was like, who's this guy? Oh my God. And we talked for about, 3-4 weeks on the phone every day. He said, I'm an IT recruiter at Amazon at the time, which was true. He said he had a PhD in computer science.
But he's an IT recruiter with a PhD in computer science. Okay.
He didn't have a PhD, but he was an IT recruiter. But he said he was like head of the department. So that was a fudge. He didn't, so he embellished, but he was kind of at least in the same job or whatever. But small town boy with good values. I remember him saying, I was obese. He really plays on that. I was obese as a kid and bullied. And I swore I would never get fat again. And one day my dream is to have a gym for underprivileged kids to healthy physically. So he would paint himself as this like really good guy with good morals, good values. And he did. He love bombed me. I mean, he said, I'm falling in love with you on the second date. He proposed in 6 weeks. Again, I was like, whoa, but it was in a public place. And it was just like, we had never even talked marriage in those 6 weeks. It was just out of the blue, completely, and I remember thinking my parents are going to kill me. Oh my God. And my sister, my mom going, well, you know what? We should be happy for her. She's 35. When you know, sometimes people don't have these long relationships before getting married. And it's not like they're getting married tomorrow. They're engaged. Like she can find a job in Seattle and they can plan a wedding a couple years down the line. So that was kind of how I was thinking was, okay, no foul, no harm. If it doesn't work, I can move home. But little did I know that I really got myself stuck into a mess. And then you add in the factor of Athena's 4-year-old daughter. It sinks in when you're out there, like you have this little girl who's now part of your family and you don't feel like I can leave that easily. Now it's a lot messier. And so when things aren't adding up, and of course he immediately, right when I moved there, it was, can you block Athena on social media? She's really bad. And then all of his family and friends were saying the same exact thing. She's terrible. She's a cheater. She's a gold digger. She's, every mean, horrible thing. And I'm just naive going, oh my gosh, she sounds awful, so block. So it was just kind of right off the bat, I was kind of scared of her. Like, oh my gosh, she's terrible. You didn't really talk about her like she was that bad until I got it. But I could tell looking back now, he didn't want me talking to her. He didn't want her reaching out to me on social media. So I didn't have her phone number. I didn't have any way to contact her. So he really kept us apart,
Mm-hmm. So all of the people in Aberdeen are all like, yeah, this is not a surprise. But his own family is unknowingly complicit in this, in the way that, they're writing off Athena. She's crazy. She's a gold digger. Why is the family believing this? But seemingly it sounds like everybody else in town caught on to this stuff pretty quickly. Like, what is going on in that family of origin that they are looking the other way or participating in some way in this?
I think the mom, she was a single mom. She had an alcoholic husband for many years. Once he was out of the picture, she was kind of on her own. He saw his dad every other weekend. So I don't know how involved the dad was to this. I know he never wanted his dad to know anything, but the mom really, gosh, Athena, how do you describe her? She's
very small town and naive in a way.
She'll trust anything he says.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything negative about her. But I will say that there's probably not a lot of like those people, those old friends, those old schoolmates, they're not going to be calling his mom saying, oh, especially people aren't going to be talking because they know how crazy he can be with retaliation. And they'd seen it many times where he would call people's jobs trying to get them fired for trying to meddle in his relationships when he lived down there. So people were afraid to get involved at all. And they just decided to stay out of it. And so I don't think she really had a chance to find out. Somebody would have had to really gone out of their way to contact her. She's not on, I think he created a social media Facebook page for her. But other than that, she's not on the computer. She's not on social media, seeing, reading. I don't think she's very tech savvy. So it was easy to probably keep her in that bubble. Brandon probably found that very easy to manipulate her.
Were there other areas of his life where he was relentless too, like former coworkers or bosses? Because he certainly has a history of fixating on the women in his life and really doing everything in his power to control every aspect of their life. Did it manifest in other ways?
I would say quarterly, there would be some type of money scam. And it was a fixation on that. He was this euphoric sense that he was above everyone, that he could get away with anything. And there was this deep drive where he felt, I don't know, compelled. It was owed to him. It wasn't a big deal that he could, steal these things, resell them, make this money, or switch information on documents to steal this money. He felt it was his. But he was relentless about that. If anybody intervened, coworkers maybe, he would be relentless about putting fear into them to keep them quiet. Same as he did, with us. But I would say the only other thing where he was very compulsive would be going after anybody I decided to try to date. He would stalk them. He would reach out to them, scare the shit out of them. He did that with Rachel. He did that with many of the other women who aren't named in the docuseries because there are many others that are not involved that played a big part. But yeah, he was very obsessive over the women and the men in their lives for sure. And even with Amber, when she finally just, met her now long-term relationship, I remember saying, do not say his name. Yeah. Do not post any photos.
We are not connected on social media to this day.
Yeah.
So that he's protected.
Well, yeah. Because he will just compulsively go after him and try to ruin it. He would probably, if he could have, he would have called her boyfriend's job, employer, family, friends. He would have created fake social media accounts pretending to be that person to make them look horrible, fake text messages to show you, oh, he's a bad guy. He would do anything and create everything to ruin or sabotage.
Which is always so crazy to me because you think of all the energy that you put into faking documents and harassing someone, you could have put into building a company and being successful. But it's a high, I think, that they get off of the terror that they create in all of these scenarios. Was he on drugs? Was he on steroids at any point?
Yes, steroids.
Because he seems to have steroid behavior.
The steroid vibe.
Yes.
He denied it with me, and I never found it in our home. But Athena did find it in her home, and other women have found it hidden behind pictures, in the refrigerator, hidden up in the light component, things like that. I never found it, but
shoes. The vials would be in the shoes in the garage. He would put them out there. My daughter initially found it. We were prepping for Thanksgiving, cleaning out the fridge to make room. She had hit the light in the refrigerator, and it popped off, and these 2 glass bottles fell down. And I had zero clue about steroids, what a person looked like on steroids, anything about steroids, the effects, how you do them. Zero clue, very naive. I was 26, I think. And I just had never been around it. So I, again, address it with him, and tears and crying. I was obese. I was bullied. And when I got to a certain age, I decided to try to do this. And my mom, she was with this guy that was not nice. And I wanted to be able to protect her if I had to. And it was that flipping it where you're like, oh.
As a compassionate person, you're like, oh,
So sorry you went through that. Well, this can't happen. And yes, absolutely. He even pretended, I find out later, that he went to this whole entire rehab. Like he would go and take pictures as he was walking in of the sign every day and be like, I'm here, but I can't take pictures inside, HIPAA, like private people's privacy. And then he would be gone. Then he'd come home. I really thought he did until I got a huge bill in the mail saying that he'd never attended, and they put a lien on my house. Balance of the medical payments owed. So that one for sure was positive. Later, we find out he was in California involved in much more types.
And was that like he had already painted himself into too many quarters into Washington State? Because then he ends up in El Dorado Hills, which just seems so bizarre. What was it about that area that...
His bio father, he found out he had a bio father. So he took
and what's that guy like?
Well, he passed away. I don't know. I'll let talk about the dad.
I was really close with him. We got really close having it be his granddaughter. He so badly wanted to have a relationship with Brandon, and Brandon fed him all this information. And I remember when Brandon was in the hospital at one point, they had contacted me and they were trying to get information to find out what happened, because he was just not with it at that time to talk about what was going on. And I remember meeting and talking to his cousin, and she was really kind to me, but the dad was a little standoffish because he believed everything horrible about me and Amber and all these things. So after witnessing his behavior, I would say within 3 to 4 months, the cousin said, Uncle, you need to listen to this podcast. I think this is real. And he did. And he reached out and he really wanted, no matter what, I said, if you want to be, we don't have to be friendly, but if you want to be involved in my daughter's life, and it's a healthy relationship, I would back it. And I did. And he would send her money, tell her to behave. He would give her allowance weekly. He bought her new bedroom furniture once she hit like this milestone. And I would call him even in the hospital. He would always say, I'm going to be gone if you can't get a hold of me, Athena. So it was sad. The whole thing is just very odd, right? Bizarre.
The combo of things getting to El Dorado, though, because the podcast came out and we used a fake name initially. And then when we heard through the grapevine that there was a woman in California and that he had a fake license with a fake name, then we were like, oh, hell no. She's not going to have any idea. Fake birthday. She doesn't know how to look up this guy. So we started using his real name. So then, of course, all the people, the rumor spread through Aberdeen and everything. And the podcast started blowing up. We had a TikTok video go viral. And I think Seattle just got really small for him too. And then he went on a car chase with Athena's daughter. And so he had warrants out for his arrest. So it just made sense that he would go to El Dorado.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because as the story begins and you two have synced up, I could imagine at first you felt a little bit of fear, like what is he going to do when he finds this out? But to your point, once you name him, and I've interviewed so many people over the years where they say, once you make the story public, there is some level of protection now. Did you feel that way?
No.
No. Okay.
Not at all.
When we named him, he took us to court, and he actually filed 2 harassment orders on us secretly. So we didn't even know that we had harassment orders. I randomly was online checking his crime record every other day because new stuff was coming out. And I saw Athena's name and I'm like, do you know you have court? He's filing a restraining order for the podcast. He tried to get it shut down. So no. And then we ended up getting a lawyer who heard our story. He decided to work pro bono for us, like $800 an hour lawyer. He worked pro bono for us. And I'm telling you, if he wasn't there, Brandon, because he would turn in fake documents to the courts. So it wouldn't have ended up in our favor. It was a wild thing. And then, of course, I found out I also had a restraining order. So I was like, I'm going to check my name. And oh my God, I have to go to court next week too. And no, there was no level of protection. The courts failed us so many times throughout this journey.
Yeah, the judge at one point made me sound like he was like victim shaming me because it happened so fast when Amber found it. Brandon had actually created a fake service document that he submitted saying that I was served. So the proceedings could continue in hopes that I would just not show up and then I would automatically
And no one in the court system is picking up on any of these documents being fake, because where is this guy operating out of headquarters? Because he keeps choosing women that have homes so that he can like weasel his way in. Is he working out of his car? Is there a storage unit? Because he needs a printer. He needs all of these resources to make all of this stuff happen.
He always has nice homes. He was scamming so much money. He'd always, rob Peter to pay Paul, that whole saying. That was constantly happening.
He got better over the years too. Yeah. He's been doing this since the 90s. So he's definitely gotten better. He knows, I could submit a fake text message into the court and they won't verify it. They don't use Celebrate software to pull information off his phone like they do in trials. They just take a copy of and then there's these apps where you can like Google phone numbers. He would create phone numbers. So, Athena texted me this and she's looking at going, that's not even my phone number. So it's
burner phones. You could just buy a burner phone, enter any phone number you want, and just ATHENA, there's Athena, and then screenshot it without a number even showing. And then it's showing me this back and forth, just like he did with the parenting app. Over a year, pretending to be myself and my husband, communicating as us, and then responding as himself. Amber would respond here and there, but on this parenting app,
why would I think anything different? Like, what kind of psycho does that?
With much time.
Yeah, Athena Klingerman at yahoo.com. Okay, she's on the app and I'm
just make something up.
Away.
Well, I love this story for many reasons. First and foremost, that your 2 exes that have, again, like taken your power back. And the second part I love about this is the way in which you're going to help countless faceless potential victims and victims. So having walked through this life experience, and thank you for sharing it, because over 3 episodes, I felt like I got completely sucked in. But you are going to have people listening to this and watching this series and learning so much about what to look forward to. So what can you just go through quickly, like things that women should look at that is potential harmful behavior or red flags?
Speed at which your relationship goes at, ignoring your gut instinct. That is your number one. If you feel it, you'll know it. Don't ignore it. And also, I always say, like, don't underestimate these kinds of guys. Some people will say, like, he's a cheater. He lied. No. Look at it, the bigger picture. Look at the pattern. Trust that, because a tiger doesn't change his stripes, and he did escalate. So don't underestimate. For the longest time, Athena would say it forever, he's dangerous, he's dangerous. And I'm like, well, he's never laid hands on me. I don't think he would do that. Little did I know, I see the video and I'm like, oh, hell yeah, he will do that. So do not ever underestimate someone like this.
Oh gosh, let's see. If it looks like it's too good to be true, it is. Like, I would say 98% of the time, it is too good to be true. And I would say, yeah, like Amber said, trust your instincts. There's no shame in leaving. That's bravery. And you don't need to worry about anybody else except for yourself or maybe your children when making these decisions. And I think that was my biggest mistake. I cared a lot what other people might think. And after he and I had a child, it was like I was trying to be politically correct. Like, I've already had a relationship with a child. Now I'm number 2. Like, people are going to judge me, and I stayed worried about what other people might think. So you need to throw that out the door. That's another reason Amber and I, we really wanted to put this out there.
All of our warts, all of our missteps, because people will come at us for all of the red flags we missed. But again,
we missed a lot.
Yeah. And there is a component of an ego and your pride. I remember, oh yeah, I got engaged in 6 weeks and I posted the picture of my hand going, I'm getting married. And then, I mean, right when I found out he was on Match.com, I didn't tell a soul. I was so embarrassed. I didn't want anyone, like, I just went out to the whole world. And so then you kind of, okay, I got to stick this out. It's going to turn around. And you're just hoping it's going to turn around, and you're so embarrassed, and put it all out there. Social media. I tell you what, I don't put my relationship out there anymore because it does kind of keep you, like Athena said, it's like, everyone knows I just had a second baby. I don't want people to think, I really want them to think Brennan's what he portrayed himself to be, even though you're seeing all the things. And so
I even left my wedding photos up because we ended so quickly after that. I caught him having an affair. He cheated on me, 5 weeks before we actually got married, or I don't even know, a month before. And so I left the wedding photos because I knew everybody would message me, why are your wedding photos down? And I would get that. And so I knew I couldn't handle it. But I think Amber and I, me being much more removed, I know it was probably harder for Amber at that moment when we started all this. But I think us throwing it all out there, being raw, being vulnerable, it just allowed other people to say, I'm not alone. I did this. I feel like this. Look, now they're on the other side. Maybe I can. So it was worth all of the, backlash.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Well, tell everybody where they can listen to your podcast, where they can watch this, and where they can find you.
Well, it's called Ex-Wives Undercover Podcast, seasons 1 and 2. All the major channels, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, all that. This show is called Don't Date Brandon. It's on Paramount Plus, airing October 28th. All of our social media handles are Ex-Wives Undercover. So we're on TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Well, I'm grateful for your time. Thank you so much for telling your story.
Thank you.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my great guests, Amber and Athena, and remind you to make sure that you click subscribe. Follow this podcast and please leave a 5-star review. Join the Facebook group Reality Life with Kate Casey. You can get my what to watch list at katecasey.substack.com. Bonus episodes, don't forget about those, on Apple Podcast and on Patreon at patreon.com/Kate Casey. Please follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at KatecaseyCA, TikTok it's Kate Casey, and Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at Kate Casey. Check back tomorrow for an all-new episode.